Hello, Ellen.
Hey there. Gotta check my hair.
Like, oh, okay, there we go.
What's that?
Hi,
Hi,
Ellen.
Ellen.
Here comes some more.
Ellen. Hi, Gary.
Hey, how you doing?
Good. Hi, Amanda.
Hello.
Hello.
Hello. That must be Dawn.
Yeah,
Dawn. Oh, there's.
I've got video.
Oh, yay. Hi, Allison.
Hi.
Oh, now I know who you are, Allison. You're Anonymous Frog.
What?
Well, when you write your name, Anonymous Frog comes up on my Google sheet.
Oh,
Here's Dee Christie.
Hi, Zoe.
I'm gonna put names into the list. If you see somebody I missed, somebody feel free to put your name in.
Hello, Dee.
Dee.
Peace.
I guess it's gonna make too much noise, isn't it?
Guess that was our flurry of people. We'll see. Wait another minute and then get started. Okay. I heard from Jonathan and Barry that they're not going to be here.
Just gonna do one, it's gonna be too noisy.
Does everybody have the document, the agenda notes thing? Okay. Yep, here comes, whoops, here's Jay again. So we might have two Jays. There we go.
Double trouble.
Yep. Jim, I didn't get your name on there.
I'm here.
I know. You know how much I love spelling it. Oh, now we're down to one J.
All right, I think I just got this figured out.
Okay. Sounds good.
I don't want to.
Huh?
I'm fine right here.
So I'm of a mind to get started if people are okay with that. And as people filter in, we'll catch them up or we won't. We'll just decide as we go along. Thanks everybody for coming. The notes are in there. If anybody, if you go down to whatever page it is, page 6, the notes are all there from last time. And if anybody has any questions or thoughts or whatever about the notes, we're not being super official, but because they're kind of sketchy notes, but just if there's something you want to add or you're not sure it presents it correctly or whatever. And then why don't I just go over the agenda? And I think we may not need to be here as long as we have in the past. So I'm hoping we'll be about an hour, a little hour plus, but definitely not longer than that. There is the meeting video link is there. It's tintillating. You'll just absolutely want to, get some popcorn, sit down, get up by the fire. It's getting cold out and watch that last meeting. It's a barn buster. Again, let's try to stay on agenda. I mean, I think we've done a really good job. So it's been easier for that. The first discussion is about the new board makeup and the results of that. And I did a little surveying to find those numbers out. And then the next discussion is about the survey sent to all members, and you would have gotten it. You should have gotten it as well. So all current members received that particular survey, and I have sort of the results of that. The third discussion is one I actually put the information in there so you could look at it ahead of time, but it's about the 501c3 possibilities and how that looks at this very moment. And what I think our group would propose, we do, and you will have to talk about that. And then if there's something else that people feel needs to be on the agenda, I think have at it. You know, we can add some things, or if something comes up, we can put it down there in other discussion. I think the other discussion that we need to have is if we are okay with the board makeup, and again, we're not official, we're not really voting on anything. The members eventually will vote on the board, but in next March. So, but we're putting together or trying to put together a slate of officers that might take on some of the work or direction of the work. So I guess the thing I think about is that our next meetings might be the 5 or 6 of us who've said we're going to be on the board, and then we report back to you. Like we keep, you know, filling your cup up kind of thing and getting questions, and maybe have a couple of bigger meetings along the way, but we can get into some of the really boring nitty gritty. Does that agenda sound okay?
Yes.
Just thumbs up. I see nods. Okay, that's great. Thanks. All right, well, I'll keep us moving along. I think Elizabeth just joined us, and Zoe's here with us too. Although Zoe, you were here a minute ago too, so I don't know. You slipped out.
Sorry, no, my computer died, and so then I had to plug it back in and reboot it. Sorry.
Okay, that's all right. No, I got your name in there, and then I thought, wait a second, here she is again. All right, let me get Elizabeth's name. Okay, so the first discussion up there is about the makeup of the new board. And what that really means is who came forward and said they would do this thing, like be a board member. And if you remember from way back when, in August, when Allison brought us all together, we knew we had to have 5 board members. The bylaws are strict about the fact that I think they can have 7 to 12 board members. I may have that second number wrong, but 5 is the lowest. So in order for us to, quote, take over the board, and not take over, you know what I mean, but to replace the board, we need to have 5 members. And within those 5 members, here comes Kevin Macy. Within those 5 members, eventually we will have to assign officers, and you need to have a president, a treasurer, a secretary, and what's the thing? A vice president. So you need to have somebody who would step in if something happened to the president. And the secretary is extremely important towards the non-profit status as to how we keep our records. And obviously we know the treasury piece is important vitally, right? Hi, Kevin.
Hi.
We just barely started. So if you got the doc, you should be all set. Elizabeth, hi, Elizabeth. You too, we just barely started. So I had been putting at the top of each meeting the people who had told Allison or myself that they were interested. And those people were Jim, myself, Kevin Macy, Zoe Parent, Maya Zylan, Dee Christie, Allison Chase, and Gary Waltz. Gary, I wonder, did I email you, Gary? I can't remember now if I did.
I added my name on there recently.
Oh, okay. So I might not have. So you can chime in, okay? Because that would be a definite slip up on my part. I went from last meeting and I did it the very next day.
No, this is fairly recent. So
okay, well, chime in. Okay, you're not excluded at all. I sent out a very simple board survey saying, hey, you said you were interested. Are you still interested? You know, do you have any special talents? You know, whatever can you bring to the board? And so people responded after several emails, except for Gary, because I didn't send it to him. But people who responded in the positive were myself, Allison, Jim, Dee Christie, and Zoe Parent. And Kevin Macy, who had put his name up there before, said he would do it, but he's brandy new. So he's not sure he has enough history with the group to do it, but he would be there if we wanted to. And Maya said no, the technology was too much for her at the moment with all the Zoom meetings and stuff. She wasn't feeling like she was able to do that. And then Gary, what are you thinking?
Yeah, I would like to do it at least until the March elections and just to
Okay.
help us get
Get
off
all
the
the word out. Yeah, okay. So I'm gonna put your name on the list and I apologize for not getting the survey. Now, I'm not sure, and you folks chime in, what we do at this point. At this point, we have 6 people and a 7th in the wings who have said they are willing to take on the work of the board. And that means after the December meeting, they would become the board. If somebody wants to make a motion about this, we're not really doing Robert's rules, so we probably don't need to do that, but are we good with the list? I don't think this is just, and I'll just give my opinion and other people, please, please, please jump in. I don't think we want a 12-member board right now. I think we want one sleek and nimble and ready to do work. And we want a representative number of voices, different mediums, different artists, and maybe different lengths in the organization. But I don't think we need massive people at this point because we need to kind of buckle in and get some stuff done. Thanks, Dee. That thumbs up. You agree, I think. And Allison, go for it.
I agree, and I think that especially the people that have been part of this discussion right along are important to keep it going, because they know what we've been hearing what everybody's thinking, what people want. So yeah,
I agree too. I think, we all made a commitment. We've been showing up here every Tuesday, trying to figure this thing out. So I think there's a good energy in the group. So other people, what do you think? We've got 6 people on the list. We could say right now, and we have to let India know, the president of VHC, that we do have a working group and that we're committed to the work. And I can't tell you how much work it's going to be, but I think it's going to be a little bit.
I agree with you though, Ellen. I think right now the smaller, more intimate group I think would work. That doesn't mean that, new board members don't come on maybe down the road. But you're right. I think there's going to have to be a pretty swift transition and kind of hit the ground running.
Yeah, and I think, and I agree, definitely, Zoe. And I think that some of that work we need to get going before the transition so that we really know what's happening along the way, just as a new organization, as a new group. So if there are no people who decline this group of people, if people are okay with the group of people, would you just give me a thumbs up and we'll do sort of a quasi vote in some respects? Dee, are you okay? Thumbs up, Dee. Okay. It looks like, and Zoe just stepped out. Amanda, are you thumbs up too? Okay, good, thanks. Okay, and Elizabeth, are you okay? And Beth, you thumbed up. Elizabeth?
Zoe gave you a thumbs up.
I'm just gonna stay out of that part of it.
Okay, all right, fair enough. But obviously we want your, voice to be heard, so please do that. But I thank everybody who did come forward. And again, like Zoe said, I think we're not even official. We're appointed by the current board in December, and then we have to get voted in March. So that's when the annual meeting is. Now that could change, but we need to talk about that too. So I'm going to move, if it's okay, from this discussion point and go to the next one, and I'll add in notes. Apparently, I'm not right now. I'll okay. So this next part, I put together the survey and I sent it to Katie, and Katie sent it out. And, surveys are surveys, and how many people answer surveys. I think, and Elizabeth, you can correct me, or Beth, you can correct me if I'm wrong. We've got about 150 members, 140 something, 150 something in that number. And we, at last count, and I don't have it up right here in front of me, but at last count for the survey, we had about 28 responses. The 28 responses, is that about right, Elizabeth?
Yeah.
Okay. The 28 responses were very positive. So what I did here, and it's right on your page that you're there. If you click on that, what I did with the survey results, I actually pulled them out of the Google survey because I just thought it might be easier. I'm gonna share my screen. Can people? Here, I'll share my screen. Okay, so,
We have 143 or 145 members.
okay, all right. I thought I remembered 144, so that's good. And of course, the numbers on surveys are always like, yeah, but I do think these people gave us some good information, and there is more trickling in through the days, like 2 or 3 more came in after I did this. So the first part was really just a, and you know it because you saw the survey, but it was just like, what are your top 10 things? What do you think we should work on? And you can see it's promoting current membership. It's promoting for the acquisition. Now I can't even remember what that says, what that means. But anyway, I'll have to go back to it. More jury, no, not more jury possibilities, new show exhibit possibilities. So there were things that we've been talking about along the way. Nobody was very far off the mark. The next question, of course, all the other questions, I'm a literacy person, so I love to read people's writing, you know? So anyway, we're open-ended. And I just said my hopes and dreams for VHCR. And I copied out all the responses so you can see them. And then at the top of each question, I did a tally, because one of the things I do is I analyze narrative text. So I look for concepts that are being repeated. And so these were the ones that came up the most often, that this whole idea of keeping VHC was strong in this comment list, okay? The show was pretty strong, but the thing that was strongest, the thing that more people addressed was this idea of more exposure, more benefits for members, more opportunities, and get the young artists in. So those were kind of a capsulation of all of those things. And then this idea of changing the show from being in Burlington to being a 2-day show or being in a 2.5-day show. There were a couple of people who put in things, but you can read all of those. I wanted to make sure you could see that. Are people okay if I just breeze through it and then I'll be quiet for a couple of minutes? You can look at it. Okay. The next question was if I could change one or more things about VHC, it would be, and then that again was open-ended. And I tried to do a concept tally at the top again. So the biggie for people that came up most often as a pattern was the cost and location of the show, and the fact that it was only one show a year. So that's something that's of concern for the membership. People did mention wanting the 50c3, but I only found one. So it's in the mix, but because it wasn't asked directly. And then this idea of increase in new members, lower cost of membership, include members who have moved out of state, and maybe include artists from neighboring states. So again, that matches up with the question above it, as well as what we've been talking about. Better marketing, communication with members comes up in quite a few different areas. And then this idea of being forward thinking, like thinking in the present, not in the past. And again, all of the comments are there and people took time. I feel like we were lucky. We got a lot of good information. And then the last thing I put in was, I just wanted to say, you know, to see if somebody had some lingering thing that they wanted to make sure we knew about. There were a lot of thank yous in this area. You know, people were saying, thank you. We want to keep VHC. We're really glad you stepped up, you know, that kind of stuff. So that felt good when I was reading it. Again, the change the show, location and cost came in. Talk about being one umbrella organization. So Vermont Crafts Council comes into that, the Vermont Council on the Arts, and how that we may not need all these different organizations. And then several people wanted to understand why members were not rejoining, and they wanted to survey those members. They wanted to update the jury process so it was more in the present mind of how people do jurying. And then the website needs revamping. There was all these kind of things about little tweaks, you know, and I kind of lumped them all together there in that one. And then staffing, wanting to make sure we had a project manager staff person in there to run the show and things like that. So again, really, really thoughtful comments throughout. And I'll be quiet for now. Can everybody, I'm going to not share my screen so I can see you. And then if people want to read it or look at it, or if you've already done, go ahead, Allison.
I just have one question as you're talking about all this, maybe, and unfortunately I didn't think of it before the survey went out, but it would be, I don't know if it'd be worth it to ask current members are they gonna re-up their membership with a new board and to see
Right.
how many people, because that will make a difference if
Yeah.
we're gonna lose a big chunk of membership because of this.
It was my feeling from reading this, Allison, that people were excited about the fact that they thought these changes were being made.
Mhm.
I think what we need to do is do the survey for members who haven't rejoined, because they might be excited if they thought things were going to change. A lot of things came in different ways around communication, and that the board, as it was, and basically they inherited a way to do it, was very separate from the membership, and they really liked that they were getting information from us and, you know, that kind of thing. So keeping the board really part of the membership, not away from the membership.
Yeah, and well, the other thing I was thinking of though is that you said what, only 28, 30 people, members of the whole membership. That's not I mean, it's nice, but not a
That's-
large amount.
Yeah, that it's about the group that you're reaching, which it seems to me is who we're talking to right now. A lot of those are the same.
No,
people.
there's a lot of people put their names in, and they are new people. There are different people in that group. So yeah, and I'm going to ask Katie to send it out again, but I didn't want to do it twice in 1 week. I thought that would be a little too barbaric. So I think we can do that. And we'll see if we get more. Notoriously, surveys don't get great. We usually get 25%. We're not there, so we could have more. I'm trying to look for my survey and I can't find it, of course, but I can tell you what the actual number is at this moment. But that's, you know, people, that's what you market off of. Your surveys you put out, you get about 25%, and you begin to think about that as the interested group that's going to do something with it. Other people, thoughts? And do take a minute to skim through, because there's some very nice things there, and I feel like people really took their.
Are you going to have this listed on the site
On what site?
where you are posting all the information?
We don't have a site. I've been using a Google Doc, and it's right
Is
on.
it in your Google Docs? That's
Yeah,
what
it's right there. Yeah, it's right
Okay.
in the discussion point. Yep.
Okay.
Yeah, everything's wide open. Except for apparently the original survey, which I'll look for. Yeah, there it is. Okay. Yeah, there's 29. So 2 more came in since we met. So it's chugging up. You know, you'd want 40-ish to be a good representation for, you know, statistically that gets you your 25%. And like I said, it only went out last Wednesday. And I think I know how you all answer your emails and what day you do too, is because I can kind of tell. But I do think that's a good question, Allison. Like, are people committed to being there?
Right. And I didn't answer it, so
Yeah.
I mean,
Oh, well,
I will.
we do better. We need our numbers. But anyway, other people, thoughts about the survey?
Yeah,
I mean,
traditionally, I mean, I think in a survey like this, you're not going to get a statistically valid sample of everyone unless you forced everyone to answer it. But what
Right.
you get, I think that's why the way you tally the narrative is good, because that's where you get in a
Yeah.
survey like this. This is where you get good information. This is where you
Yeah,
get thought
it's
ideas.
what I do when I do literacy research. You're looking for patterns and trends in a school, not what each teacher does. Do you know what I mean? So it's like this idea of looking across all the comments and seeing what they're centering on. Yeah, I thought it was interesting. I thought it connected very well with what we've been talking about. And I thought the questions correlated with each other. Like the same things came up, you know, in different questions. So. Anybody else comments or thoughts? This to me is a great tool for the new board group, because this group will want to read it thoroughly, go through, make your own tally list. You might not agree with the way I did it, you know, whatever, but and then we need to like get actionable about what we think we can do and what we can't do.
Good job.
Okay. Thanks. Yeah, at first I couldn't think of the questions. Then it was like, I can do this. We can do it. Okay, so it sounds like, you know, we've looked at the survey results, wish we had more. do people agree that I should send it out again, maybe in another week?
Yes, definitely.
Mhm.
Yes, yes.
Do you want me to add that question on the end of it? The re-up?
Are you likely to re-up your membership with a new board? I guess, I don't know, but
I can add that if you want me to. It'll just mean the first ones won't have access to that, but the newest ones will let us know.
yeah, it might be nice. And then I think with Katie, like when she sends the message or whoever, I guess she just sends it out, forwards what you sent to her, but just relaying the importance of as many people
Yeah,
filling this.
and I did a little byline for the survey for her, and I'll do that again so that it just says we really need your information. Or
Mhm.
so
Okay.
add a question about renewing
Mhm.
if. Okay. All right. So the next, we are being, okay, go ahead, Dee, sorry.
That's okay. I'm not sure we should put in about the old board or new board. I'm not sure enough people are really connected to what the board does or doesn't do. I don't know what that would prove to say,
No,
you know.
she's talking about membership, not the board. So the question would be, you're right now a member of Vermont Handcrafters. Are you planning to renew next year?
Oh, that's not the way I heard it. Okay. I
Yeah,
thought you
no,
were
it's
saying,
not about board membership.
okay.
At this point, it's not that it's a deep, dark secret. It's just that we're not really a board yet. We're just a group of people. And you've
Okay.
kind of said to us, you six go forth and keep us apprised, kind of thing. Go ahead, Elizabeth.
I personally think it's kind of confusing. I think your question should be a little bit more clearer about,
Okay.
if, Vermont Handcrafters continues, are you planning to re-up?
Yeah.
Because otherwise you're a little bit casting a negative shadow
know.
for
I
that
know.
bird. And I
Well,
don't think that's in your best interest.
No, I
Maybe-
agree with you.
Leave it
Yeah.
off and.
Yeah.
leave it
I
off.
was thinking, Allison, it might be better to do it after the show, like
Mhm.
after, like just as it may be after we're appointed or whatever it is, so that it is cleaner and not about any one thing, kind of. So I'll take that off. Okay.
And Dee, I did say what you said
Oh.
about, I mean, that's how I worded it.
Okay.
You did hear that.
Okay.
Okay. All right, so we're moving right along. Okay, the next part is about the 501c3 possibilities, and this is a tricky one. I did some research. Jim listened to me do research. I read all the questions out loud to him, and he agreed with my answers, kind of thing. And I shared it with Barry and Jim and myself, and I have come to a conclusion. But this group will definitely need to weigh in and think about it and whatever. So if you remember. And it's all in I put what I sent to everybody, to Barry and Jim, right in the agenda. So you can see it right there. But actually what ends up happening is that the IRS has done a nice thing. They have a 1023, what they call EZ form, and it's super, super easy. And so the organization that I just pushed forth into 501c3 land was a 1023 easy form. Fill out the answers, you got the people, you got the, whatever, you got your bylaws, and off you go.
Basically assuming that it was a brand new organization.
A brand new organization. Now the problem lies, and I think Barry, when he was talking about it, the problem lies is that once an organization has been tax-free from the IRS, which VHC is currently a 501c6, so they don't have to pay taxes on the money they grow or get or whatever. Then there is this one little question in the easy requirements form that says, have you ever been tax-free? And as soon as I say yes on that form, it says I can't use that form anymore. So then you have to go back to the form, which has 46 pages in it. And you have to secure financial records. You have to go through your bylaws. You have to do all the things that Barry was talking about a couple of meetings ago, where he and the current board said, that's too much. It's too much work to do. And I'm going to say to you, that's too much. It's too much work to do. but we're on the cusp of something. So we may have a possibility that the past board did not have. That is, we're on the brink of dissolution. If, and just keep an open mind here, if in December we were to dissolve VHC as it currently is and recreate a new group with a different name, it would have to have a slightly different name. It can't have the same name. I don't know how different it has to be. We'd have to look that up. And we filed for being a corporation, LLC, through the Attorney General's office or whatever office that is on the state website. It's super, super easy.
Yeah.
And we've
Secretary of State.
thank you. So I always do the wrong one. I like them both, I guess. But anyway, the Secretary of State gives the okay that we become a corporation. Once you become a corporation, brandy new, you can do the 1023 easy form, which is what my other organization did. And within a month or two, we were a 501c3.
And it's only about 3 pages.
It's 3 pages versus 46 and no financial records because see, here's the difference. You weren't an organization.
Right.
But as soon as I say I was part of VHC or part of the original organization, I cannot answer that question no. So it's that, and Barry didn't catch that at first. He said, I don't think we're going to make that much because there's another one on money, like how much money you make. And he said, I don't think we're going to make that much money. I said, no, it's not that. And he said, oh, I missed it. So it was just it's one little question.
So that sounds a lot cleaner and that
It's easier actually.
yes, easier. And when VHC dissolves, they can designate, if we have the new one in place already, they could designate whatever money is left over
Exactly.
to come to this one. So,
Because they have to give the residual money to an organization of like kind. So
right,
we would hope they would do that. Yeah, I agree, Allison. It would be the work of the 6 people right now to do some of that, getting a name, passing it by everybody, seeing if we do it, whatever it is, and then looking at the bylaws. I read through the bylaws 2 or 3 times over the last week because the bylaws have to match with the 501c3-ness, and they really do. I don't think there would have to be much tweaking, but we would have to create the new organization's bylaws, and we would probably heavily, land on theirs, on the previous ones. So just open for discussion. If people, that's a lot in about 2 minutes. So,
makes sense to me.
okay.
Right, that's my 2 cents worth.
It's exactly what my other organization decided to do. They said we cannot go forward in the old one because we cannot provide all of that. Go ahead.
Have we contacted a lawyer at all to look at that? I
No.
mean, I know you're super smart. I know you've looked at it all. I just wasn't sure if there was any value in that, or do you feel comfortable, like you really just went through it?
I paid
was-
a lot of money for the lawyer with my other organization just this
Okay.
last fall, and she basically said, if you can get through that 1023 easy form, you're going to be in better shape. We
Okay.
had some other instances because we had fallen out of our charitable place, so we needed to like lump it and go.
Okay.
I'll be right there, Elizabeth. The VHC has stayed in good grace, with everything. So
Right.
we could stay a 501c, but that's usually like a chamber of commerce or something else.
Yeah, no, I don't think we should. I definitely think we should go with the 5013C. Is there any reason to not?
Oh, I don't know. I don't know. Other people. Elizabeth, you want to chime in? You want to?
I was just gonna say that, I mean, the present board when Barry was the president, went down this.
Yep.
I've been down it over my 20 years a couple of times. And there is no way. It's would almost be impossible for VHC to become a 501c.
Yeah.
Right. So
my eyes glazed over, Elizabeth, as I started reading that 46-page thing of everything that had to happen. And I got lost after about page 6. And then the amount of hours it would take just to produce the financials and the tax records and all of that stuff with the board that's leaving, that doesn't seem fair either. Do you know what I mean? Like that would be work after December. So I think that my vote would be that we dissolve. We'd have to be really clear with the membership, what that means and what that comes for, and we go immediately for 501c3 as a new organization. That's my
Why
thought.
can't
Other people?
the board?
Huh?
Why can't we stay the old organization with a new board?
You can, but you cannot be a 501c3. So the 501c3, as soon as we, VHC is a tax-free organization right now. It's a 501c6. In order to change it, you have to do the long form and all the financials and all the gyrations.
It would take probably a year or more.
Yeah, and Cider, I think, did that. Your organization did it that way.
Right.
Yeah. Go ahead, Ellen.
So a new organization, but with the same membership, like we don't have to
Exactly. No, it would-
jury or anything
No.
like that.
It would
And
be
then-
sort of a name only.
Okay, and then at some point, I hope we could change the bylaws to be more inclusive of people who move or,
Well, that's
know-
exactly what the 6 people should be working on. If this is the place, the way people want to go, then we need to make sure the bylaws represent that, those survey results, because that's in there. There's
Okay.
a lot of effort. Yeah.
Okay, one more thing.
Yep. Go ahead, Elizabeth.
If you dissolve, you would have a whole new organization. So VHC would be gone.
Right.
Your
Right.
new organization would do you gain new membership. I mean, the old members can become new members of the new organization. VHC will be gone. My handcrafters will be dissolved, and
Yeah.
that will be the end of it.
Exactly. Yeah,
And
it
with
will.
that, we will sell all of our stuff, get rid of everything. Everything, if we dissolve, everything goes.
Yep.
We have to sell everything.
Yeah.
Okay.
I don't see any other way to get to 501c3. And if anybody has a magic trick to do otherwise. Amanda, go ahead.
I know I'm new to this group right here, and
And
you maybe have gone with this before, but I just like, what is the advantage of being a 501c3?
There's a lot as far as our mission and the type of work that we do and the types of outreach we do. We move away from being one show only, and we start doing more things for the artist community. I think it could revitalize the organization to get people involved more. I think there's been a lack of involvement across the organization for whatever reasons. And I think the idea that you can give somebody a tax-free donation will allow us to take more donations, because there are people out there who will give more if they can take it off their taxes.
that's really
That's really the big one. Yeah.
Let's be honest here. That's the advantage.
And show sponsors too. We
Show
Yeah.
yeah, like
sponsors,
Hannaford could.
how you could pay for a show without having to have as deep a pockets as Vermont Handcrafters has had to have all these years.
Yeah,
That's
right.
really what this is about. So I just want people, I mean, that's honestly what it's about. And, we're out of money.
Yeah.
So-
And when on the bottom of that little part in the agenda, I started like, I don't want to lose the handcraft name. You know what I mean? You don't want to lose the organization. You want to keep it, but I don't know how to do that, except if there's a way to fold the name in a way that I was thinking Phoenix Rising, all of that stuff. Like you try to do that, but I put down like your new organization could be Handcraft Vermont, or take the show name Craft Vermont could be the actual name of the new organization, which has a connection back to Vermont Handcrafters, so you wouldn't lose all the history. So I don't know. I was just brainstorming.
D.
Go for it. Oh, you're muted, D.
I know, it takes me a second once in a while. So I have questions. What would be sold, Elizabeth? What are you saying all that would be sold? What is it that we would sell?
If we dissolve, we have to sell everything we use for the show.
But what is that?
Computer, there's the
Computers,
computer,
everything has to be sold.
there's a
So-
That's what I'm asking, like what everything is, like computer, what do we use for the show? Can you sell it to the new VHC? Like,
I think we have to do fair market value, or, I mean, I'm not exactly sure, but we have to dissolve everything. I mean,
That makes sense, but I'm just wondering if,
Well, generally speaking, the assets, money and other go to another organization like the organization.
Right.
So you can't make money on that sale. You can't, unless you're in debt. If you're in debt, you make money on that sale, you pay off what's there. But if there's money from a sale or money
it
from,
goes into to pay our bills and everything else.
right,
True,
so
true,
what I'm
but if-
asking
yeah.
is there any reason why the current board wouldn't sell it to us?
Well, I'm not sure you'd want all of it. I mean, I don't
Well,
know.
That's what I'm asking. I'm
Well,
like, I don't know what,
We haven't
Hang
gone
on.
there yet. But
hang
we
on, I
do-
just wanna, I wanna finish my thought. So whatever we want to buy, is that going to be offered to the new board or the new, whatever we're calling it, us, the new, point two? Or is that going to be something that's the current board is not willing to do to the new board?
I don't think it has any, no, that's certainly not. That's
Okay, so-
certainly not true.
That's
I
fine.
think
No, I didn't say it was true.
for lawyers, we have I mean, if we're going to dissolve, we're going to need our lawyers' input. And from what I've gathered, we can't just say we can sell it to this person, we can sell it to that person. I'm not sure, but that's what I think is
Well, as
what I
yeah.
understood.
Somewhere along the line, probably in December, a itemized list of what kind of assets you're talking about would be
Oh, yeah.
very helpful.
So
Well,
I'm
we
still
will-
not done. Hang on, I'm still not done.
No.
So my question to whoever want to answer this, it's not old versus new, like us against them. It should be like a morph into this
Yeah.
this new whatever we're creating. I don't want anybody from the past board or ever or anybody to feel like we aren't supportive of what's happened. But I think moving forward, we just have to figure out a way to make it be as flexible and as easy as possible. And my other question was, instead of like saying, well, the new people that are signed up to be members, can't we just roll it over and say we're doing a name change? Do we have to go through this? Well, we're dissolving, we're this and that. Because I don't know if I mean, yes, they need to know that things are changing, but do we have to make it so it sounds really ugly, like we're dissolving, and why can't we just say we're improving, or we're upgrading, or we're
Right.
moving forward in time? It's like,
It does sound like a sever, which does sound
Yeah.
like a breakup. And I wish there was, as Dee was saying, some sort of smoother transition. This is really just a movement to, and not an old versus new. And I will just say, on the heels of what Dee was mentioning, like it would, I didn't hear anybody say, and maybe we could sell it to you guys. Like there was no mention of that during that conversation, which even for me being on this side, I was like, oh, gee, you have to sell everything. It would be nice if we could work together. And because all these people are still going to be with us. I mean, Elizabeth, you've been with the company so long, you're really staple. And we don't, no one's forgotten. So.
Go ahead, Elizabeth.
I'm going to say, I'm sorry if I came off that way. For me, there is no new or old, but when you say dissolve, there's more to that than just rolling over an organization, is all I'm trying to get at.
Yeah.
When VHC, if this is going to happen and it dissolves, we have to dissolve. Which means our assets, everything we have to, can it go to you guys? That would be if whatever people wanted, that would be the most sensible. It's just that there's way more involved when you dissolve something. It's just not able to roll over. That's all.
And in the nonprofit world, they have to designate an organization that assets go to.
Mhm.
So my Council on Literacy would go to Partnerships in Literacy. So it has to go to a like organization with a like-minded mission. So
But I
think
that is the money. I think that's the money left.
Assets
Not-
equals money. So it's everything, I think, Elizabeth, but we'll
No.
ask your lawyer that.
We'll have to look at that. That was
Yeah.
not my understanding, but I could be wrong.
Well, as soon as you sell it, you're in money. So it all ends up in the same pot. But go ahead, Allison.
Well, I'm just, two things. And what Zoe and Dee were kind of getting at was, I think there's kind of like a behind the scenes thing, what's going on, taking care of resolving VHC and keeping it going, what we're doing behind the scenes, and then how we present it to the general public are two different things. So I don't think that, as long as we present it that, we've reorganized or we've done this or whatever we've done. And the other thing, I don't think we should spend a lot of time going back and forth about this right now, because it is going to have to involve some answers from attorneys and, and more involved than just us sitting here talking about what we can and cannot do. Just my 2 cents.
I agree.
Go ahead, Beth.
I was thinking that, dissolve doesn't need to be an ugly word.
No,
Right.
it doesn't.
Sometimes we dissolve, something and it becomes even more beautiful. So everybody here is very creative. Put the creativity into work and change that word dissolve from something ugly into something beautiful, because that's the whole point. We want to dissolve into a beautiful blooming flower that will continue for even longer.
Yep.
Well said.
Thanks, Beth. Yep.
I mean, it is a transition.
Yeah. Okay. I'm going to move us on if we're okay with that. I think that all of that we just talked about becomes part of the work that goes forward as we go forward. Did people, I don't know if I can ask this question or not, so just somebody slap my hand or whatever, but are people in agreement that the ugly word dissolve, which is going to be the beautiful butterfly, is the way we need to go in order to get to the 501c3?
Yes.
Are you feeling
Yes.
like that's okay to keep looking at? Because you're telling the 6 members now what our job is to do, right? You're telling the 6 of us that we should go forward with that. Are people okay with that? I see some thumbs up, but I don't see everybody. Okay. Pam,
Of course, we're still investigating it.
Oh,
and
yeah.
That's the plan, is to move forward towards that direction, not.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah,
Yeah, I mean-
hummingbirds won't eat a sugar cube, but they will eat sugar if it's dissolved in water.
This is true. Okay. All right. So what I took from that whole conversation, that the group of 6 people that we said were okay before is going to look into this whole matter as best we can. We'll reach out to India and the board members about the dissolution and how their lawyers have talked to them about it and that kind of stuff. And we'll try to make it. Well, I think a big part of what this group needs to work on is presentation and communication to the members in a really thoughtful way so that it doesn't feel ugly and wrong. People okay? I like thumbs up, I guess. Okay. That was the last discussion item on our list. So if there's something other people have that they want us to chomp on a little bit, go ahead, Jim.
And this is basically to Jay and Kevin.
Oh, yeah.
I'm wondering whether there's been any additional discussion since last week, and maybe even with Charlie, about the
I had
possibility
something for that. Yeah.
bringing additional handcrafters upstairs, because knowing that the first floor is full.
So Jim, I talked with India, so I was supposed to bring that up, but India and Elizabeth spoke with Charlie yesterday, and there was, as far as I know, there's no conclusion. And Elizabeth, if you want to say more, you can, but it's not, you don't have to, kind of thing. But so there is conversation. And Jay, I don't know if you've had other conversations too.
I can just say that we talked to him today, and I think we're looking for a proposal of some sort, so we know what he's talking about and what is doable. And I've contacted the DoubleTree to see what our situation is, would be there also. So
Okay. Okay, so more later, it
more to
sounds like.
come.
More to come, okay. Thanks for doing that.
So it's being worked on, and that's an okay thing.
Yeah, I'm sorry, I forgot to. I didn't know whether to put it on the agenda or just mention it because it wasn't a final deal kind of thing, so. Other things people want to bring up? Thanks, Jim. All right, don't look so happy, you guys. Everybody should smile right now. It is 7:19. You should be smiling right now because it's 45 minutes. Anything, how about, I would think that the 6 people who have said they'd go forward, we might want to make a next meeting date, and maybe we meet this group again in a month or something to tell you what we're finding out, or how does that sound?
I think we should
That sounds good.
start attending the monthly board meetings too. Just
Yeah,
to,
if we can, yep.
just to listen in and keeping, communication with the current board.
I agree. Okay. And does the larger group want us to do periodic? I think you do, but anyway, yes, okay. All right. So maybe if we get on a roll, we'll like once a month at least, something like that.
Sounds good.
Okay.
Not
And
many months left.
I know there aren't, so you're right, actually.
And will you continue putting notes with the 6 people onto your, so anybody that's not in part of those meetings at any
Yeah,
time
you'll still have access. Yeah, I'll just
see it was discussed.
Yep. And I'll just keep going, but it'll be, smaller meetings and bigger meetings. I'll just put them all in the same doc. Kind of fun to see how many pages you can put in a Google Doc. So I'm a little competitive, but anybody else, something they want to bring up? Do the 6 of us want to meet next Tuesday and then we can make a plan for our plan?
That probably would be a good idea.
Okay.
Yes, I think that's a good idea. Yeah.
Tuesday is the 26th, maybe?
Wow.
I know.
I know, September's gone.
Yeah. All right, so the 6 of us will meet on September 26th. I will put my notes that I've been scribbling with a pencil into the document so you have it. Oh, the other thing I did put in the document, if people are interested, was Zoe's recreation of the budget. It's at the top. So we got the one that we couldn't quite figure out all the details, and Zoe had kind of done a little magic with her Excel spreadsheet. Go ahead, Elizabeth.
If you're going to dissolve, you're going to need to if you're going to vote to have a new organization, you're going to have to let us know.
I know that. I know. So
that'll change a lot of things.
Yeah, and India, I know.
Also.
Yeah. From the last meeting, that was kind of clear that we needed, first of all, we need to let you all know that we have 6 people or 5 people that are healthy, willing, and able, kind of. So that was the first step. So, okay.
Dave, your phone is lighting up periodically, but we can't hear anything if you're saying something.
I don't know. Can you hear me?
Yep, we can hear you.
Yeah.
Well, then could you hear all the banging I was doing? Because I was working while I was watching this.
Oh. We should have.
I apologize. Nobody said anything. Yeah, I don't have anything to add. That's what you're asking me.
Okay.
So can I just make sure that I'm clear? So and I'm glad that Elizabeth's on. So right now, Elizabeth, we are doing the downstairs. There seems to be a bit of a wait for some Vermont Handcrafter members. But there's not been any resolution because you just had a conversation with Charlie. You're waiting for a proposal. So we're at a little bit of a standstill. Is that what I heard?
And yes, on our waiting list, there's only, I think, 3 people on our list.
Okay.
Go ahead, Dee.
I think that's because I've talked to quite a few people, and I think there's a waiting list, or not very many, because people were under the assumption. I've heard, like, I was at the Colchester Autumnal Fair, and people told me that the show wasn't happening. The November show. So I think there's a lot of mixed messages about the VHC actually having a show this year. And I think that's why, like, I know a couple people that really want to be in this,
Yeah.
but the
do too.
membership, has been put on at hold for now. So I think we would get a lot more if we could.
Well, I mean, I have to just say that, I mean, these people didn't sign up. I mean,
No, they probably didn't. But all I'm saying is that,
no, but I mean,
sometimes
they
people-
didn't sign up before we even talked about it. The whole reason this is happening is because people didn't sign up to do the show. And, so
honestly, Elizabeth, it
really
really
such a
doesn't
hard-
matter.
it's so dramatic. It's so hard because, we're in this situation because people just didn't sign up.
Agreed. I know, but it's not about,
it's just sad.
it is sad. I think, but what I think it is like, these are new people in the area that are new to the craft show, that were the first time that I talked to somebody down in, where was I? Down at Waitsfield, and she had just heard about it and she was excited. They just kind of came into Vermont, and then she was going to, it doesn't matter. I just think there are new people out there that want to do this.
You mean new people?
New people.
Oh, people that have never, okay, I'm misunderstanding what you're saying completely. Yes, I mean, that's what happened when we didn't have enough. Yes, okay.
Yeah, and it doesn't really matter what happened or what didn't happen. It's just, I think if we can figure out if we can get some more spaces, then we can fill some more spaces. That's all I'm saying. I think, until we know from Julie, right, then we can't do anything. But when we do, if we can fill those spaces with more VHC people, great. I just think the more
Can
we
I
let
add
in.
something?
I'm just going to say, I also think Charlie Dooley's thing is a lot more complicated than people are understanding. He is a show promoter. I think his ideas are more complicated than what everybody's understanding.
I didn't get the idea he was envisioning necessarily until we talked about with him opening up another room for more VHC upstairs. He wants to do his own thing up there to help promote for next year. That's
I
kind
understand that, but I can't imagine that he's gonna turn down money.
Well, it just depends on what his goals are. I mean, what he's trying to do. And as far as getting new people in, those people would have to still jury in to Vermont Handcrafters at this point before they're doing a show. And I can tell you, I'm not sure. I mean, it's a big show. If people could do all that and get ready, I don't think to me, if I'm speaking for Elizabeth, but I think we're beyond that point.
But I do think there are some people who are juried already who thought the show wasn't going to happen too. I think there's some people. And then it begs the question about whether in this final burst, do we have to be as tight with that jury requirement? And can we do a quicker jury? But I know that VHC stopped doing jurying in the summer. So we don't have a flow of new members because we haven't had the juries in place.
Because we only had enough people to do the downstairs. It is.
I think Jay was trying to say something.
Yeah, I was just gonna say that.
What I wanted to say, you guys had asked if there was anybody interested, and Elizabeth, I think, said there was 3 people that signed up for the waiting list. I don't know if it ever got thrown out there, but me and Kevin resulted, I think, about 20-something names. Only half would commit to a yes if we were to open up another room, but the other half was maybe under conditions. So it would be a little bit of work to get that many people together. I don't know if anybody's brought that up to this group yet or not.
I think Kevin talked about that last meeting or at the board meeting. He said, like, I think he said, don't quote me, but I think he said there 7 people, they would do it. And then there was people and I think you talked to Elizabeth about it, must be.
but
Yeah,
there
he
was
did talk about
confusion.
it at the last board meeting that there were 7 people. And some had condition. It's, yeah. It's just very complicated. And like I said, for me, it's all very, it's hard. It's all sad for me.
I think we're gonna have a good show. I mean, I think 73, how many, 73 people? That's still
I
quite
am promoting a great show. I just did a thing on for a radio interview, and you know, I'm having, for my handcrafters is having a great show, hands down. And how the narrative goes is how everybody here and everybody who participates talks about it. I mean, if people are saying we're not having it, we need to be saying, oh yes, we are. You're gonna miss it. Don't be crazy. Come to the show.
And last year, I can tell you, one of my friends came to see me at the show. She said, well, I didn't find you. And I said, well, I was upstairs. So if this makes you feel any better, she said, well, I didn't even know there was an upstairs. So there you go. So.
So there you go. Yeah.
Okay. Are folks all set?
Mhm.
Okay. Look for the minutes. We'll put the notes in, and if you want to add something to them, please do. If I didn't get it all, and otherwise, I'll see some of you next week at 6:30.
All right,
Bye.
thanks,
Thank you,
everybody.
Ellen. Thanks, everybody. Thanks,
Bye.
Elizabeth.
Bye.
I.
Bye. Hey, Jim, we can talk right upstairs, downstairs here.
I know it.
I'll be up in a minute.
All right, very good.